streamline IT hardware management with further control of your device lifecycle. For a more sustainable IT hardware footprint, the platform's automations and intuitive dashboards now span across the lifecycle stages for managed devices hosted in inventory, deployed to end users needing repair, and of course, recirculated and recycled. Once you log into your Evercycle instance, if you have elected Evercycle Asset Management feature set, you will notice the Asset Management tab in the main navigation. Right away, you will notice the various stages of the device lifecycle in the form of tabs across the top of the page. But first, you'd probably want to see how to add a new asset or import many assets by uploading a CSV. If you simply need to add a single new asset record, using the Add New Asset form may be your method. In likely case, you want to import many new asset records, the CSV import feature will be more efficient. Download the import template, notice the column headers at the top, and simply fill in the rows. Most of the fields are not required to be populated when importing, but it is recommended to be as detailed as possible. For the Inventory Location ID column, reference the Manage Locations modal under the Inventory tab to find the ID for each inventory location you have available for your organization. You can add new inventory locations as needed. We will cover more on inventory locations a little later. When you import new asset records, you can enter the status, such as Inventory, Deployed, and In Repair, so that your asset records are accurate right away. Use Evercycle's intuitive CSV import feature to validate and ensure data is imported correctly. You will notice that the initial view of your devices is in the All tab. You can navigate through the other tabs to see what devices are currently in inventory, deployed, requested, in transit, in repair, decommissioned for resale, as well as recycled. You can also search for specific assets by fields, such as serial number, the assigned user's name, or a custom reference field. Filter by asset type, asset status, and even the reported damage of a device. If assets are in inventory, you may want to segment your inventory by inventory locations. Let's say you have multiple locations within your organization, such as office locations, centralized hubs, vendor locations, retail locations, classrooms, or departments. You can filter by these locations, as well as manage inventory locations, add new locations, and assign users as the location's designated point of contact, so that if devices are not assigned to an end user, there can still be an individual at each location that is responsible for the asset. Devices in inventory may also be marked as available or unavailable, so that before a device is deployed or issued to an end user, you know if the device is ready for use or if it is unavailable. If a device is available in inventory, there are two scenarios you may deploy the device to an end user. If the recipient of the device is remote, you can click on Deploy Asset, follow the prompts, and once you submit, a shipment is created for the outbound deployment of the device. The workflow you select will determine the workflow automations the device deployment will follow. This is where the action ties directly into Evercycle's workflow automations. This is very handy for remote deployment of a device that may be physically in an inventory location that is remote, or with a vendor, for example. Check out the workflow the device is now following to view the service order request, tracking, and other activity. If you or a service provider is shipping devices, the shipment is instantly ready in the Shipments tab. Once the shipment is on its way, the status will update to In Transit, and then once delivered, the status will be Deployed. If a device is going to be deployed to an end user in person and a shipment is not needed, you can simply edit the asset record, assign it to the new user, deployed, and you then have options to retrieve the device for disposition or recirculation, or request the device to be sent in for repair. Let's say you need to retrieve a device from a remote employee due to the employee being terminated. Click on Retrieve. Then, select the workflow you have created for the device to be either returned back to an internal depot or a workflow where the device gets routed directly to a service provider, such as an IT ad vendor, for disposition. Again, The workflow will determine the automation parameters the retrieval process will follow. In the case of repair, let's say you need to retrieve a device for repair from a remote user, and you also want to provide a replacement device and have the user ship the device that needs repair, either back to an internal location or to a repair vendor. Simply select the workflow, pick a device you want to deploy as part of the swap, and let the workflow take it from there. Remember that each time there is a status change or an update made to an asset record, the activity is logged so that you always have a history log of what has happened to that device, when it happened, and who did it. Remember that there are API endpoints available for adding new asset records, editing, and pulling a list of asset records as well.